My name is Patsy Dodd. I've been working at the Ark for 30 years from when it opened. So it's our great anniversary this year of 30 years. I think that's Pearl, isn't it? I have led the nursing team, which is a very, very small team of 4 permanent nurses, and we have 1 relief nurse who fills in whenever we can. So I've been there from the very beginning when we were in the trenches, and now we're in self-contained flats, which is a great progress for the Ark.
No, definitely. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was the self-harm kits that you've helped create and bring into Wirral Ark. What kind of was the start or the origin of creating those?
Right. It's a common factor for people to self-harm who are homeless. Often they have a history of abuse of a loved one, and they actually think it's their fault. So they deface themselves, if you like. It's a feeling of guilt or remorse, or and sometimes it's just frustration with the life they're living at the moment, and they actually don't like themselves for what path they've taken. It's often very sad, and it's often very, very concealed. Very rare does a person go into a GP surgery or walk in and say, this is what I'm doing to myself. It's always very, very well hidden. So we found that when we were doing our health check, because every resident has a health check, very basic, so we have a baseline, and you could often see physical marks, especially in the summer. You could see them because they weren't always concealed that well from us, so we could pick it up. And there were great discussions on how we approach this, because it's a very sensitive issue, and what we don't want to do is lose the trust of the people in there, because they feel that they've lost that everywhere anyway. So to actually confront them straight away on the first time we ever see them was not the right thing to do. So we looked at different discrete ways of doing it. And I happened to go to a conference in London, which is the Queen's Nursing Institute, who were looking at people all over the country who were dealing with homeless people. And we looked at it from different angles. And there was a girl there who had actually devised a self-harm kit and said that she actually was a community worker and did on the street in London, and they used to go along and they took dog food, because most homeless people in London have a dog, so they used to take a bag of dog food, and they also took these little kits so that if anybody came to any harm, I don't think initially it was for self-harm, it was in case they actually hurt themselves, and it was almost like a little first aid kit. So when we came back, I thought, that would be perfect for us in the Ark, only we'd call it a self-harm kit. Because obviously we're actually looking after their injuries ourselves. So it was, what do you put in it was the next question. So the main priority was homeless people get infections because of their lifestyle, and they're more readily to get infections. Their personal hygiene is not the best, because if they're in the street, they're on toilet facilities, even especially during COVID, it's even worse. Public toilets were shut. There's no shower unit anywhere for them to go to. So their general personal hygiene then increases their risk of infection, and their poor diet and everything else. So we had to think about those things. So we sat down and thought, right, let's do it as a mini first aid kit, but also we put a leaflet in it to direct them where they could go, sort of Samaritans or different places where they could go for support. So it was a crafty way of introducing them to services, because a lot of homeless people don't know what's available. So it was twofold really. It was one, awareness of what is available for them. So we have a list on the self-harm kit, and we also gave them step-by-step instructions on the sheet. So if it's a slight cut, you do this. If it's a bigger cut, you do that. And in the packs themselves, we put saline for cleaning, Steri-strips to close the wound, wound dressings to cover it, and gloves. Very basic, but as I say, twofold. One is for them to treat it themselves and close any open wounds so that it was less risk of infection, and secondly, to direct them to services that were available for them to actually get help to talk.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible idea. And how long ago was it, do you think, that you introduced these to them?
Probably about 4 years ago,
Really?
quite recent, really.
What has been the kind of reaction from, the staff who are in Mary Cole House and the places that they have them? What was the reaction from Wirral Ark when you started introducing these?
Wirral Ark were absolutely delighted. The staff were certainly delighted because they often don't know. They can't really approach people with self-harm that much. And it actually extended because once word got out, the Women's Refuge and other homeless, like we have, Hilltops and Waterview, they also have access to self-harm kits. So it's not just, we don't keep it for the Ark, we actually keep it for anybody that needs it. And they have come along and picked them up.
Amazing. And obviously they got introduced 4 years ago, and have they, I assume they have made a difference to the residents and the patients you've seen in the last 4 years?
I definitely think people are using them because they come back for more. We don't monitor their wounds, but we don't see as many infected wounds, but they tend to hide them anyway. That's the problem, really. So what we could measure is probably very limited, but I do think that we don't see nasty wounds like we did when they self-harmed and they only came to us when it was already infected. And I can't say we've seen those for the last couple of years.
That's amazing. I think what I've kind of learned from what Wirral Ark does in my short time of being here is, you can't prevent someone from doing something, but what you can do is try and make sure it's done in the safest or best way possible to show that the support and network's there for them.
100%. Yeah, we can't be judgmental and go in and say, you can't do this and give them the reasons. We all know the reasons why they can't. And they know the reasons more than you or I, to be perfectly honest. They don't like what they do. And, I would argue with any person out there who says that a homeless person wants to be homeless, or they want to be a drug addict, or they want to be an alcoholic, or they want to self-harm. They do not want. It has happened. It's an event. And the people that dislike themselves the most are themselves. So it's to get over that, really, and it's actually to get them to take a little bit of responsibility as well. If you harm yourself, then do something about it, keep it clean and do it. And we do talk them through it, but the leaflet that's inside the pack is as important as the items that are in the pack, because it gives them advice on how to clean wounds. And that mightn't just be for people who self-harm. That could be for any injury that they happen to get while they're out, where it's an open wound. They've got clear guidelines of which step to take at what stage. But on the other side, it's all the support networks that they could go to. And that is as important as anything you give.
And what, obviously, you've got the saline strips, and what's actually in the kits, and how much does it cost to put one of those kits together?
Okay, you've got the information leaflet, and the printing probably costs as much as everything else in it, really. And then we put what we call knee-pour dressings, which are adhesive, sterile dressings. We did used to put non-adhesive with tape, but that didn't work out very well. The difficulty we have is the knee-pour or the melon. Adhesive dressings are far more expensive. We do put ordinary plasters in because sometimes the wounds are that small, and ordinary dressing plaster would do, but they do need the adhesive dressings. We put saline in, we put gloves in, we put steri strips in, and we put a bandage in, and that's basically the bulk of. Obviously, if somebody comes and they have a particular self-harm, if they burn, we would then add into that pack something for burn. So it'd be what we call paraffin gauze dressing. So once we ask them the question on their health, if they self-harm, and they say yes, we say, what sort of things do you do? Because we can give you a self. And then we would add on. So the basic kit is very basic, but we'd add on according to the type of self-harm that they do.
Yeah, no, that's such a level of care to it. I think that really shows the care and support that when someone comes in, obviously if they're self-harming, they are feeling isolated and to a point where they don't feel they've got anything else to turn to. So it's amazing to see you've got that kind of compassion and ability to adapt that self-harm kit to their needs to make them feel a bit more heard.
I think the other thing it does, it opens it up for them to allow them to talk about why they do it. So we do initially barge in and do that straight away. We offer the self-harm kits, and then we're always here to talk to you. You don't have to have something physically wrong with you to come and see us in this room. We're here to talk, and whatever you tell us stays in this room unless it's detrimental to your health or somebody outside. So it opens doors as well. And we often do find now that they'll come in and show us, which is quite unique really, because they used to keep it hidden, and show us and say, I don't know why I'm doing this. And then it gives you an opportunity to talk, and talking is a great healer, isn't it? You don't need any other intervention.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And the cost of these things, is it like £3 to £5? Is it for these self-harm kits, for the basic ones, and then added on to if it's a specific thing they need after that?
Yeah, I'd say approximately, you look at it, it's about £4 a pack for the basic pack. And then, as I say, if we need to add specific things, obviously it'd go up a little bit more. But it's important that we acknowledge the type of self-harm that they're doing, but not initially. We just give them the base pack and open it up for them to come to us. But we do find that they do approach us and they do come back. We always say, once you've had that pack, if you've used it, don't hesitate to come back and get another one, or ask a member of staff. Now, I know that sometimes they do approach the staff in the office now, because they've said, oh, we've taken a couple of self-harm kits out. So that's quite incredible, really, that people are approaching it more and accepting it more, that they need help.
No, that's absolutely incredible.
Such a simple tool, but it's like the starfish in his name. You can do one little thing for one. It doesn't matter what else happens. And I would say the self-harm kits have cascaded to other hostels, which is really good. So people know we have them, and they all, the staff in the other hostels, or don't hesitate to come. It's an open box in our room, so it's accessible to anybody at any time, because obviously you couldn't have it when we're just on duty. So it's not locked away where our medicines and dressings are. We keep it in a box, freely available to anybody at any time. So it's important that was kept accessible to everyone.
It's such an incredible thing to have, and it's not just the physical side of things, but like you said, it's the emotional and like connective side of things that it helps in so many ways. It's just a brilliant idea to have.
It's surprising how small things are usually the most successful. Sometimes you think you're going to change the world, and it's not going to happen. I think it's a case of approaching some things very, very slowly, step by step, baby steps. And what we want to do as nurses is to get them to always be able to come to us and talk to us about anything at all. We will never be shocked. We will never judge. We will never approach them in any other way than to steer them in the right direction and help and support as much as we can. And whatever pattern they choose to take in their life, or whatever road, it's for us to make that a healthier and give them some quality of life, depending on however short that might be.